Promoting positive images of St. Louis. That's next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter. Welcome to City Corner. Stand up and rally. That's the message. And we'd like to introduce you to our guests from Rally St. Louis. To my immediate right is Jamie Pisek, and also here, Mallory Nassam. Welcome to you both.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
You know, there might be a couple people that don't know what Rally St. Louis is because you've only been on the St. Louis scene for, I guess, a couple of years. And as far as I know, it was a first of its kind type of organization for St. Louis. Can you give us a little background on what Rally St. Louis is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. It was created 2 years ago by Aaron Perlett and Brian Cross. And what we realized is the first of its kind local crowdsourcing and crowdfunding platform for the people of St. Louis to have an opportunity to go out and say what they want to see happen in St. Louis, what things they want to see brought here, and give them the opportunity to make it come to life.
Well, what kind of things, Mallory? When we talk about bringing things to St. Louis, can it be any kind of business venture or what?
There's really no limitation to what kind of ideas you can propose on the platform, but it is crowdsourced and then it moves into a voting phase. So you can propose anything, but usually ideas that the community rallies around, things that other people really want to see happen, those are the ideas that really get brought to life.
You know, a lot of people aren't really familiar. They hear the terms crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, don't really know what it is, so maybe we should step back and kind of take it from the beginning. Explain the concept.
Sure, yeah. So crowdsourcing is basically we're going out there and asking, again, what do you want to see happen here? What do you think would bring St. Louis to a higher level nationally and just increase our awareness and better our community in general? And we put out that direct ask and we're sourcing ideas. So our first thing that we ask for is people to go on and submit these ideas, and then we have a whole bunch of crowdsourced ideas. And then, as Mallory mentioned, it goes through a voting phase, so the people of St. Louis can rally around the ideas that they support as well, and the ones that have the most support go into crowdfunding, which Mallory knows a lot about.
So I think crowdsourcing is a really great new tool because it gives, anybody can propose an idea, and we've created a platform where other people can hear that idea, and then you can actually be able to take some steps to make it come to life. And that's a relatively new thing.
Right, so it's giving people an opportunity to do things that might, in days gone by, they might not have the resources to do on their own. Mm-hmm. So it's really an emphasis on the idea, I guess. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to do this crazy idea, if I want to do stagecoach rides in downtown St. Louis, I would just throw that idea out there, and if we got a response from the public, we might make a go of it?
Mm-hmm. Like one example of an idea that's currently in the crowdfunding phase is branded crosswalks. Someone submitted an idea that we could use crosswalks within the city and paint them to represent the culture and arts of St. Louis, and just take this opportunity to take crosswalks that are pretty bland typically and make them come alive. And someone just submitted it, thought it would be a good idea, and it got a lot of votes. And eventually someone who is used to working for doing crosswalks and working for the city, they saw this idea, loved it, and said this would be great for my neighborhood, and communicated with the person who submitted the idea, and now they're working in tandem to make it come to life. So you have the opportunity to put the idea out there, and people who have the experience but may not have had this idea before can come in and provide that experience to make it come to life.
Yeah. And when we talk about crowdfunding, are these typically small donations, or does that run the gamut too?
I think it really does run the gamut. Mm-hmm. We have a ton of individual donations, and sometimes other organizations will come in and submit a larger amount, but it really just depends. I think every project we've seen so far has a good amount of both.
So as a citizen, and I pledge a certain amount of money to something, how does that work? If they have to reach a certain funding goal, and if they don't, then is the money refunded, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's we don't run any of the funds or the money that's donated until after the amount has been successfully raised. So if they don't reach their goal, then you wouldn't be charged at all. It's only after they reach that point.
I'm going to ask you about some particular projects that Rally St. Louis has been involved with a little later in the program. But also, what sort of track record do you have? You've been in operation for 2 years. I'm just trying to get an idea. If 100 people submit ideas, how many of those result in an actual project?
Well, it's at the end of each month, the idea that has the most votes is the one that has the opportunity to go into funding. So it really depends on whether people have the time and the ability to push it into funding and get a budget for the project. And then at the end of every month, that's whenever you have an opportunity. So I'd say since in November, Rally will have been in operation for 2 years. Really, there were about 24 projects that had the opportunity to move forward.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And so how did it get started here exactly? Do you know? I mean, I'm just assuming maybe this was a project done in other cities first? Maybe you don't know the answer
quite.
to that.
I mean, I don't, to the best of my knowledge, there isn't quite a model that's like this. I mean, there's a lot of crowdsourcing and crowdfunding opportunities that are online platforms that are more just, they're not localized. This is a hyper-localized thing. This is ideas about and for St. Louis, proposed by St. Louisans, voted on and funded by St. Louisans.
Our STL, which we're looking at an image right now, is a new project that Rally St. Louis has undertaken. Let's talk about that. And it all is kind of stemmed from the incidents in Ferguson after the death of Michael Brown and the protests and all the things, turmoil that's happened in Ferguson since that time. This is a project that sort of addresses that. How did it come about?
I think there were a lot of different reasons that we wanted to use the Rally platform to address this issue in a positive way. I think one of the things, at least the first thing that we noticed is the media attention that St. Louis was getting was
not good.
It wasn't good, and I think a lot of us felt like it was very selective and kind of skewed. And while of course there were a lot of not great things happening at that time, but there were a lot of people who really care about that community and who really care about St. Louis as a whole, that were doing positive things to try to keep bringing people together instead of feeling that constant division. We wanted to highlight those positive things and those community bridging activities that were going on. And so that's where one of the ways that this idea started.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. And, if you watch the news, and I'm not criticizing the news, but you don't always see the whole side of the picture. So particularly if you didn't live in Ferguson, maybe didn't even live in St. Louis, from what you saw in the news, all you saw were burning gas stations and tear gas. And what you're saying is that wasn't the whole story.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's why we came up with this idea of a sort of a social campaign around the hashtag of our STL, where people can get the word out more about those more positive things that are happening and the actions being taken to strengthen the community and heal from the events in Ferguson and North County. So the concept really is if you're doing something that's helping to heal, or you see something that's happening, share that and tag it with the hashtag OurSTL, and hopefully we can use this as a way to bring more attention and more eyes to the good.
When did you start this project, and what kind of reception have you been getting?
A few weeks ago.
About a few weeks, yeah. It's we've seen a lot of support, a lot of people who say they love the idea and hoping to see others use this hashtag to get an idea of how they can help themselves, because a lot of people want to, they just don't know how.
So are you asking about particular thoughts and things concerning Ferguson itself or the St. Louis region? What kind of parameters did you put on this?
I mean, the idea derived from the incidents in Ferguson, but it's connected to the larger community, inevitably. Ferguson is St. Louis, so we're interested in how people are staying connected to their community, caring about their community and the people that live within it, in the St. Louis region. It's not limited to Ferguson, but it is inspired by what's happening in Ferguson.
And how would you describe the reaction that you've gotten? I mean, are people sort of excited about it, or feel passionately about it, or what do you sense from it?
I feel like there's been a lot of like camaraderie around it. People have really taken to it and said it was a good idea and good mission. They support it, and it is our STL at the end of the day. Like, whether you live in Ferguson or not, in the news it's going to say St. Louis, and we want to make sure the right representation of St. Louis is being put out there. So I think everyone really has a stake in it if you live in St. Louis.
About how many people have contributed so far? Do you have any idea off the top of your head?
I don't know. I mean, there have been a lot of different ways that people have contributed. We've had a lot of people just engaging on social media, you know, commenting or liking some of the posts that have that hashtag. And then we've seen other people use the hashtag independently themselves. So I don't know if we could quite quantify it, but it definitely feels like there's a growing support and a growing awareness about the hashtag. And I think one way in that RSTL and Rally, something that they do similarly, is they're a platform that elevates ideas. So, you know, whereas a lot of the positive things that people are doing could be just sort of, you know, consolidated into smaller communities, we're trying to elevate what people are doing to a higher platform so that a lot of people can know about it, and that maybe even the rest of the country or the world can see these things that are happening. And we're bringing it all together into one site, rstl.com, and under one hashtag.
So how do you use the blog exactly?
The blog we use to support activities that are happening, if there are any events going on, to talk about new projects that are happening and funding, to shed more light on what those projects are trying to do and what their goal is.
So is it people just talking about projects they're involved in, or could they be talking about their feelings?
They could be talking about anything, really.
Yeah.
And so the way that the rstl.com site works right now is it technically aggregates anything that uses the RSTL hashtag. So if someone were to post a photo of them planting in a community garden, and to them it feels like they're bettering RSTL, they would use the hashtag. That photo and whatever description they use would show up on our site. And then 5 minutes later, somebody else used the hashtag, that shows up on our site too. So it's like a live feed.
Well, we've got some of those photos to take a look at. We'll do that when we come back from our break, so stay with us. We're talking about our STL with Rally St. Louis, and we'll be back with more City Corner right after this. I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. We're talking with two representatives from Rally St. Louis. To my right is Jamie Pisek, and also here is Mallory Nizam. Rally St. Louis is the organization. They're a crowdfunding and crowdsourcing organization designed, these are all my words, to just make St. Louis a better place and to introduce new ideas and help people with ideas make those ideas become a reality. Would that be a good way to put it?
That is correct.
Very good.
I think we might need to use that for our website. It's a great description.
Feel free to quote me. Feel free to quote me. Now, Rally St. Louis has only been around for a couple years, and I didn't know much about it. I just want to mention this until last year, when I agreed to be part of I guess it was a fundraiser you were doing, sort of, or?
Yeah, it was
called the St. Louis Anchorman Contest. Explain it.
Yeah, so with the release of Anchorman 2, the movie, we sort of came up with this fun idea to test local anchors on how well they know their city, and at the same time be a fundraiser for whoever won this contest would receive $1,000 to go towards a local charity of their choosing, which someone here won.
I was up. I guess I was one of 6, was it?
Yeah.
And there were some radio guys, some TV news anchors, and it was sort of like a trivia contest about just things about St. Louis, and I happened to win. And I gave my $1,000 to Sylvester Brown and his project, which all of a sudden just went out of my mind.
The Sweet Potato.
The Sweet Potato Project, thank you, which kind of helps kids in North City gain business experience. They raise sweet potatoes and make them into products and sell them. And anyway, it's just a great thing. But I had some stiff competition, I have to tell you, and that was a lot of fun. So
it was fun.
I was glad to get introduced to you guys that way. Well, we're talking about a new project for Raleigh St. Louis now called Our STL, which you have a blog. Let's recap this. You have a blog and you're encouraging people, and this is all in response to the turmoil in Ferguson and the aftermath of the Michael Brown shooting. You're trying to help people tell a positive story about our region to counteract what we might just see on the news and get the impression that everything is in flames here.
And to encourage more community involvement and give people an idea of how they can get involved and help heal.
So people have been sending you pictures and thoughts?
Yeah, we've had a lot of people commenting, saying the things that they're doing. For instance, some are volunteering and tutoring math after school. Others are sweeping up and cleaning up the areas after any events.
Organizing events. A lot of different ways that people are involved.
We have 7 pictures that people have sent you on the blog, Our STL. Why don't we take a look at them and tell me what you might know about each of these individually.
This is Yoga Buzz STL. They had an event at the Ferguson Brewery combining yoga and beer tasting. So
you can't go wrong with that.
No, not at all.
But it was a great way to, potentially get people into explore the neighborhood that hadn't previously. So this was a photo that they submitted in support of our STL.
Let's move on.
This is a project that was actually successfully funded via Raleigh St. Louis that's currently being realized. It is the Cotton Belt Mural Project. The idea was to take this abandoned building on the riverfront that's right at the Stan Musial Memorial Bridge and take what was really a rundown building and turn it into something beautiful. So when people are driving into St. Louis or passing through who maybe have never been here before, they don't see a rundown building, they see a beautiful, vibrant piece of art that sheds some light on the great arts community we have here.
And these are flock of birds, right?
Yes, and eventually that'll span the whole length of the building.
It's going to be really gorgeous.
I heard an interesting piece we did on St. Louis Public Radio, I think it was just a week or so ago, about this particular project. And it's fascinating. What's this?
This is from whenever we went and exhibited at the TEDx Arch Design Week event. And we went out just to talk more about Raleigh St. Louis and how we can better our STL and just going out and engaging with people who want to support the community.
Yeah, we had a lot of people that came through there asking questions about what our STL was. So it was a great opportunity for us to spread that message to people.
Okay, let's move ahead.
This is an image that someone sent us of, they took this big cutout and put it in a window downtown and is basically saying, pray for Ferguson and St. Louis, and just a way that other organizations are showing their support of the community at large and sending a message of positivity to passersby of downtown going to the Cardinals game or what have you.
We got a couple more.
This is another example of ways people are beautifying the area and showing the great arts community we have here.
I love that when they just take an old wall and do something with it. It's beautiful outdoor art to me.
This one is Rebecca Zoll on the right. She runs North County Inc. And she's doing a ton in North County and in Ferguson to bring support and funds to local businesses there who have been struggling in the wake of the events in Ferguson and North County. And she's behind the whole #ShopFerguson push on social media to bring people out there and support the businesses that have been struggling since the events.
Oh, those small business owners have it rough.
Yeah.
I think this is also a great example of the concept of our STL, where they're inviting, the whole region to come and support the businesses in Ferguson. If you are nearby and you need to grab lunch, be a good citizen of your region and go support a local business in Ferguson that's probably struggling. And that hashtag can maybe help, continue to get that message out to people.
And show some of the delicious foods on Instagram, because what else is Instagram for besides showing the food?
I haven't been to, I'll hold my thought. Go ahead and talk about this.
This is another photo from Yoga Buzz STL, which is combining this was at the Ferguson Brewery, and it was a yoga class, and lots of different people from all over St. Louis came together in this space to just to support that small business too.
You know, I just love the idea of people trying to get something positive out of something that's not positive, because that's the best you can do in that kind of situation. And you know, I haven't been down there, I haven't witnessed any of the protests myself, but I've talked to lots of reporters who have been down there and covered it. And you know, the first thing we usually ask is, you know, were you scared? Did it seem dangerous? And what I've heard from so many people was that all the positive energy down there, despite what they were there for, and it's an unpleasant thing, that people were really trying to pull together, and there was still love somehow on some level.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And that's what we're trying to get out there more.
I think in times of strife, communities can bond or divide. And we want to highlight the bonding and the bringing together that's happening. Because, you know, I mean, I think when you're going through something really tough, like what the region is going through right now, you need to be able to share with your community how you are staying positive and how you're contributing to the betterment. I mean, it's not all just, this is a great, you know, it's not all sunny, right? So our STL is not just the happiness that's happening in the community, but it's also the way in which maybe you're doing some hard work to make the region better.
Mm-hmm. And I loved how you were talking a little bit ago about supporting local businesses. People have done some neat things. There was a bunch of women at one point that decided they're going to eat in every restaurant in Ferguson, or at least in the historic district or somewhere, and they went to like 9 or 10 places, and just to, you know, show their support, that they cared about the people there and the businesses there and wanted them to thrive. So I'm not real up on this whole hashtag thing. I'll admit that up front. So why don't you explain that a little more and be specific about how you would like people to use our STL and the blog?
Yeah, absolutely. The great part about the website is anyone who uses this hashtag, our STL, you can tag it to any tweet or Instagram or whatever have you. This website will automatically find that on its own and aggregate it right there on the page. So people can go to the website and scroll through and see examples of everything that is being done out in the community. And
yeah, so if I were to, if I'm volunteering in Ferguson and I want to take a photo to share that with the community, I would add that hashtag RSTL, and when I post that automatically through our website, rstl.com, that we created, that photo will be synced up on the site, and it'll be able to be viewed there. And you can do that with any photo or any post. It doesn't have to be a photo necessarily. We like photos a lot. So that's really all you need to do, is just add that hashtag in.
Our STL, remember that. Briefly, would you just say a little bit of something about who you are? What I mean by that is Rally St. Louis is made up of an interesting group of people who donate their time. Most of them have other jobs, but they feel like this is important. So are you guys from St. Louis? What got you involved in this? I don't know if you want to say something about, you know, what you do at your 9-to-5 job, or just a little background, whatever you'd like to share.
Yeah, I grew up in St. Louis, out in Creve Coeur. Went to Mizzou and came back here about 2 years ago. And I'm now working with Elasticity. It's a digital marketing agency downtown, and that's how I got connected with Rally St. Louis, is the partners of Elasticity. Brian Cross and Aaron Perlett are also the founders of Rally St. Louis. So that's how I got involved.
Mallory?
I'm from St. Louis. I spent a lot of time outside of St. Louis and eventually came back here. And I was really excited. I kind of came back and unexpectedly stayed. I was really excited about the energy in St. Louis and how much it had changed since I left. I came back in 2010, and I became really involved in a lot that was going on in the city. I'm an artist, yoga instructor, and I also work in marketing. And I've been really involved in community arts and that sort of thing for about 4 years now.
What kind of difference do you think Rally St. Louis has really made in this community? How important do you think it? I know you think it's important, you wouldn't be involved in it. But what do you think it really adds to our landscape?
I think one of the great things about St. Louis is the people of St. Louis are very vocal and very supportive of their city, and you won't find any other diehard St. Louis fans as you'll find here. So I think the voice and the want is out there. So we just give these people the opportunity to make that come to life.
I'm going to have to stop you there. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I hope people will take a look at your website and find out more about Rally St. Louis and our STL, our St. Louis too, and get involved in that blog. We've been talking with Jamie Pisek and Mallory Nazam, Rally St. Louis. Thank you so much for being here. Love your shirts.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for the compliment.
That's all the time we have for City Corner. I'm Steve Potter. Thanks for watching. Bye.